faster, so you see my point up.
Fire, fire, fire. In a Cessna 152, there's no fire alarms, no Hollywood explosion. You're typically over a field somewhere at 3,000 feet and your instructor says those 3 words. You've got 8 seconds. Run the checklist, drop the nose, push the plane to its maximum speed, and hope it blows the fire out. Today, I'm bringing you inside the cockpit with me to see the exact simulated engine fire that I did. And plus at the end, I have a surprise with Ella and Maria on St. Pete Beach. Speaking of surprises, I've got a little surprise for you guys right now. Today, I'm going to be pushing my limits with a short field takeoff, and then getting into one of the most time-critical emergencies a pilot can face, an engine fire. Short field means limited runway, so getting the airplane off the ground and over an obstacle in the shortest distance possible. And real quick, if you guys are enjoying the video and want to follow the journey, then hit the subscribe button and like the video. It helps a lot more than you think. Now, back to that short field takeoff. So with the short field takeoff, we're going to immediately pitch for VX, which is the maximum angle to get us off the ground and climbing as steep as possible. Once we get to about 100 feet, we're going to transition to VY. VY is the best rate of climb. And once we see the speed of VY, which is 67, and a positive rate, we'll take that 10 degrees of flaps out and continue the climb as normal. This maneuver is very useful if you have a very short runway or you have obstacles directly in front of you after takeoff. Alright, but this next part is where things actually matter, because if this happens for real, there's no time to think. Engine fire in flight, it's rare, but when it happens, hesitation is what gets people killed. You're not diagnosing, you're just acting. Now I didn't get the checklist on film, so I'm just going to walk through it. If you have an engine fire in flight, there's no hesitation. You need to run through the checklist, and that is mixture, idle cutoff, fuel selector, off, master switch, off. The goal here is simple. You're shutting off everything feeding that fire. No fuel, no ignition, nothing to keep it going. At that point, you're setting up to move into the descent and try your best to put it out.
It'll start to come back. Here. That's where accelerate to be in. Okay. And now I'm going to just point it to the cockpit, ground reference area. Fires out, and then we'll go land as soon as possible. Most likely it's going to be to feel a bit of fire. You're not going to try to like get back on and then try to go careful. Yeah. Okay.
Flight's over, but the mission isn't. We need sand and salt.
Right, Ella?
We finally made it. St. Pete's finest. Just beaching it. But don't let the tailwags fool you. There's a storm a-brewing. Maria's out here living her best life, looking like a literal postcard. Me, I'm just trying to keep the peace. Maria's checking the weight and balance for the water landing. Look at those paws go. She's flying in the air, but her heart says no. Dropped and betrayed. She's officially going to file a grievance with the pilots union. We tried. We really tried to convince her the ocean wasn't out to get her, but she's strictly a shoreline girl. Now she's on a mission of pure spite. Since we dunked her, she's trying to snitch on us. See, dogs aren't even allowed on this beach. She's spinning in circles like a siren. And when she realized that the snitching wasn't gonna work, she started digging a bunker to hide from the beach patrol. She really thinks she runs the show, huh? Before we got cuffed, we made a break for it. Downtown Pass-A-Grille, hitting the brick pavers for the essentials. Now this is what I call Joe Biden maxing. I typically Biden max on Sundays, so I'm well rested for the busy week ahead. Gotta keep the energy high. And would you look at this spread? Live band, people living their best lives. This is peak Florida vibes.
Let's forget about it.
The golf is gold, but the flight was wild. Stay tuned for the debrief. I'm teasing a massive move for the next episode. Let's go. All right, quick debrief for this week. So next video, I'm actually going to be including a little bit of a triathlon that I'm running this Sunday. And then we'll also be going over the timelines from zero to hero. I know that I said I was going to do that this week, but with the fire simulation, everything just ended up getting too long. So I decided to make it into 2 videos. This week was a lot about really just tightening things up. I'm starting to learn how small inputs can make a big difference in the airplane. When I first started flying, I was death gripping it and probably overcorrecting everything. So it wasn't just about going through the steps. It was about going through them a little bit more correctly, a little bit more precisely now that I'm getting a better feeling for the plane. But honestly, this week I kind of felt like I hit a wall. It felt like I was doing the same things over and over again, and it became really repetitive, and I just didn't have the same energy as when I started. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about is there's a point where the novelty of something new wears off and it kind of just starts feeling like work again. And what helped me get through it was just taking a second and realizing how far I've actually came in such a short amount of time. And that aha moment for me, I was flying and I was just looking out of the plane, sitting there completely comfortable, completely in control. And I thought to myself, wow, like not too long ago, you couldn't do this at all. So just realizing that helped me break through the work aspect because the work is really paying off. And it's easy to get caught up on the next horizon or the next objective that you have to do or comparing your skills to other people's or the instructors. But if you compare it to yourself and look back from the beginning, you can see the work really does pay off. So it felt really rewarding. And in real time where I am right now, not in video time, I'm doing cross countries. So it's starting to become fun again because it's not just the same thing over and over. So there's always a new horizon in aviation. It's something that I've realized. And next video, like I said, I'll be breaking down a little bit of the triathlon that I'm running this weekend and talk a little bit about how I'm balancing that with flight training and a full-time job. And there should be a pop-up right about here if you want to see my first solo and how I even got here. And if not, I'll see you guys next time.